Before history knew him as Alexander the Great, he was just a boy, caught between two powerful forces. His father, King Philip of Macedon, was a military genius who built the deadliest army in Greece. His mother, Olympias, was a fierce, mystical woman who whispered stories of gods and heroes into his ear. She told him he wasn't just a prince, he was a descendant of the legendary Achilles, and maybe even of Zeus himself. While other boys played games, Alexander was in war councils. While they learned courtly manners, he studied strategy and philosophy with the greatest mind of the ancient world, Aristotle. Aristotle taught him science, medicine, geography, and gave him a copy of Homer's Iliad, a book Alexander would carry with him for the rest of his life. He didn't just want to read about heroes, he was determined to become one. One day, a magnificent black horse was brought to the king. It was wild, dangerous, and threw every rider who dared approach. As King Philip was about to send it away, young Alexander stepped forward. He had noticed something no one else had. The horse was terrified of its own shadow. Alexander calmly turned the horse to face the sun, spoke to it softly, and swung himself onto its back. The wild stallion instantly obeyed. The horse was named Bucephalus, and he would ride with Alexander into history. Seeing this, King Philip wept and said, "My boy, you must find a kingdom big enough for your ambitions. Macedon is too small for you." When Alexander was just 20, his father was assassinated, and the kingdom erupted into chaos. Rivals claimed the throne, and Greek city-states rebelled. But Alexander didn't hesitate. He executed traitors, crushed rebellions, and made a terrifying example of the city of Thebes. Greece bowed, and he was crowned king of Macedon, but his eyes were set far beyond Greece, on the colossal Persian Empire to the east. In 334 BCE, with an army of just 40,000 men, he crossed into Asia. They were outnumbered, far from home, but they followed a leader who believed he was chosen by the gods. At the Granicus River, he charged headfirst into the waiting Persian forces, leading from the front, his sword flashing. He was nearly killed, but at the last second, one of his generals saved his life. The Persians fled, and Asia Minor fell. The next year, at the Battle of Issus, he faced the Persian king Darius himself, who commanded a much larger army. Alexander attacked with blinding speed, and when Darius saw his lines collapsing, he panicked and fled, abandoning his own family. Alexander treated the captured queen and princesses with honor, a gesture that showed the world he was not just a brute, but a king. Next, the defiant island city of Tyre mocked him, believing they were safe behind the sea. Alexander did the impossible. He ordered his army to build a stone causeway right through the ocean, a massive project that took 7 months under constant enemy fire. When Tyre fell, the world watched in awe. No wall, no sea could stop him. When he reached Egypt, they welcomed him as a liberator. There, he founded a city that would forever bear his name, Alexandria. He then journeyed deep into the desert to visit the Oracle of Siwa, What the oracle told him remains a mystery, but when he emerged, witnesses said he had changed. From that day on, he openly believed he was the son of Zeus. In 331 BCE, at Gaugamela, he faced Darius for the last time. The Persians had wore elephants and chariots with scythes on their wheels. Alexander had strategy. He created a gap in the Persian lines and charged directly at Darius. Once again, the Persian king fled, and his empire collapsed. Alexander marched into Babylon and the grand city of Persepolis. But in a moment of drunken rage, he ordered the magnificent capital burned to the ground, an act he would later regret. Darius was soon betrayed and murdered by his own men. When Alexander found his body, he wept, covering it with his own cloak and giving him a royal burial. He then declared himself the new king of Asia, but he didn't stop. He pushed east, through mountains and jungles, into India. There he faced King Poros and his war elephants. Alexander won, but at a terrible cost. His beloved horse, Bucephalus, died from wounds and old age. Alexander wept like a child and founded a city in his horse's honor. After 10 years of marching, his army was exhausted. When Alexander ordered them to push even farther east, they refused. For the first time, Alexander listened. He turned back. The journey home was brutal. Thousands died crossing the harsh deserts. Back in Babylon, at only 32 years old, Alexander fell ill. Some say it was a fever, others whisper of poison. As he lay dying, his generals asked who should inherit his vast empire. He whispered his final words, "To the strongest." Then he was gone. His empire was torn apart by his generals, but his legacy was eternal. He had spread Greek culture across 3 continents, forever connecting East and West. He was more than a conqueror. He was a force of history who proved that one person, driven by a powerful vision, truly can change the world. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this journey into the past, be sure to like and subscribe for more stories.